Hey guys, it's me again, Orc Slayer. What ifs? Where I last left off, let's see, checking. Last time on that bell, what if? Well, he went to the church, went to bed. He's been in, the Orario for a couple of months now. Sorry, for a couple of months, or maybe even more so. So I'll start you off with this. As you see a cave with Konaric and his special mask, standing before a bunch of others wearing masks similar to the Dragon Priest mask of Skyrim, but different. Instead of slanted eyes, they're more like serpents, with fangs, and with like fangs on the front, and different words engraven to them. One means brute, one means strength, one means cunning, and one means toughness. As Konaric is speaking to him, he gives him a mission. He has heard tales of a warrior in a city far away that supposedly can cast magic with only saying a word, and it always comes from his mouth. As he speaks to him, you are to go and silence this warrior, for I believe he is Bel, or the dragonborn. You will be going on your own. I will wait for your return. As the others are like, but master, are we truly ready? He's like, yes. With the blessings of the black dragon, your strength is amplified, more so than even him can save you. And I grant you this, as he teaches them a hex. It is to stop any to speak any words. Stop his voice, and you stop him. As like, we will return, master, as they get up and walk away. And he's like, good. As he's overseeing the training of dozens of children, like I said, he has bought into the slave trade and is using them as child soldiers, essentially. Training them up, and they've been almost completely inducted into the cult. And the ones that are shown to be problematic are dealt with in several ways. But as we go back over to Orario, Bel is dreaming. As he's dreaming on the day he left for Orario. Well, not Orario, but the continent Orario is on. As he was about to leave, he was approached by his father, saying that, where are you going, Bel? He's like, the Lord Akatosh and the other divines called me somewhere else. I must answer. As Bel's father says, but your place is here. He's like, it is, but the other cultists ran. We must stop their growth we must stop their growth, even if it means the end of me. And they have started worshipping something else, something crueler than the ones beforehand, even crueler than Alduin, if Akatosh is to be believed. As the divine's champion, or whatever, like whichever name he uses, he has multiple. It is my duty to strike it down. As he gets on the small boat and says, goodbye, father. And tell mother I said goodbye as well. He's like, Bel, before you go, he walks over, he takes off a necklace, and he's like, I had this necklace since my mother gave it to me. As he says, wear it proudly. As it's like a jeweled necklace with a emerald placed in the center of it, sideways, as it's a square, or, well, sapphire, I'd say, as it's diamond shape. Well, yeah, pretty much sideways square. And tells Belle to look after himself. As in the jewel is encrusted, well, pretty much not a saying, but a word that means will. It means, like, literally, will. That's all that's written into it. As Belle gives his last bow and sets on the little boat, and pretty much rows out, and then eventually the wind takes him. So he wakes up and puts on the jeweled necklace again, saying, as he clutches it tightly, sending off a prayer to Akatosh and the rest of the 8. As he straps on his armor, he gets ready and heads out. Sorry. As he sets off, he says goodbye to Lady Hestia. As he's making his way over to the dungeon, he actually does run into Lily, as he doesn't have any prior meetings with her, as she talks to him about how, hey, I heard you are a solo adventurer? He's like, yes. How may I help you? She's like, well, I'm a support. As she explains the roles of a supporter, he says, I go far deep down. Are you sure you can handle that far? She's like, I'm not meant for main combat. I'll watch your back and try to keep things off you and collect stones afterwards. He's like, very well. As they begin walking, she's like, wait, how? He's like, we'll split the gold 50-50. As they walk down there and start killing, as she gets to see his things in action, like, as he uses the shouts, as he pretty much curve stomps anything that tries to get in their way. But he understands that he's become too reliant on the shouts, and he is trying to fight more with physical prowess and speed, instead of just, foos, 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 yo, fire breath, all over. As it's like pretty quiet, well, Lily makes conversation since Belle won't. As she's like, yeah, I got here a few years ago. He's like, As he's like, hey, as when he went to go bend down, it actually showed his necklace. As it, like, sort of flinged back, she's like, what's that? He's like, it's a necklace that's been in my family for generations. As when he, like, when he was bent down, he, like, went to go, like, straighten back up. As he was pulling up, a monster literally swiped at him and broke, like, the locket off where the necklace would be, as it flew off. As she's like, Master Belle, as she launched her, like, arrows. As the thing, he's like, thank you, Lily. As he's like, he, like, feels on his chest, he's like, where did it? As he's like, find it, oh god. As he's starting to look around, he's like, where? As he's looking around, he sees the shiny bit. As she's like, here, Master Belle. As she, like, hands it to him, he's like, good. As he just, like, stuffs it in, like, his, little, like a little satchel or bag he has on his side. And she's like, As he's has it there for safekeeping. She's like, alright, Master Belle, now that that's safe and secure, let's go. As they continue forward, making a lot of gold as they typically would. As he's like, As he takes the, like, his 50, and is like, see you, hopefully we may see each other again tomorrow. As he walks off, she's like, yeah, I guess so. As she walks away, she steals the knife. Yeah. I'll say she isn't able to steal that. Well, actually, sure, why not? She can steal it. As Belle's like, wait. As he, like, checks it, as there's a rip in his, like, little pouch right there. As he's like, no, 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 no. As he's like, as Lily went to go like see if she could pawn it off, but the guy says that since the jewel is encrusted, it's like worth way less. As like some way of trying to fool her, she's like, dang it. As when she like walks by, I think it was Ryu or something. She's like, as I'll say, we get a flashback to like Deku and talking with Seer, I guess, and she finds them interesting. As he had his, like, he typically keeps his necklace tucked away. But like one night he like took it off because he had like been sweating really badly. And it was like rubbing his skin like on his neck raw. So he like took it off and just like said in front of him. As Seer's like, wait, what's this? It's like, it was a gift from my father. Been in our family for as long as he can remember. I'm like, cool. Wait, where are your parents? They're like, they're gone. Last thing I have of them. As he like stuffs it in like in his pocket. Well, before he did, like Ryu got a good look at it as well. Like, huh? It's like, she's like, what does that mean? Will is what he says about it. As then he puts it back in his like pockets. Ryu's like, that looks very familiar. As then Lily like, I have no idea what you're talking about. As when she goes, I think it's Ryu either lets her go or, yeah, she gets it back, I believe. As she gets it back as Lily ran away, she like eventually Belle turned up and she's like, here. As he's like, wait, where? Oh God. As like Bell's happy to see it. As he's like, where did this go? She's like, he's like, you lost it? He's like, yeah, I fell on my pocket earlier. As he like looked at it, he's like, yeah, it's been one of those monsters must have cut my pocket when I wasn't able to like turn fast enough. Switching two-hand is kind of annoying. It's like, you have another one? Like, yeah, I had two. I had a heavy shield, but let's just say that got wrecked. It's like, if it's made out of the same stuff as your armor, I highly doubt that. As he's like, I fight. As he just says, Anyways, thanks for returning this, Ryu. As he like gives like 200 septums to her. What? Valis, not septums. Sorry. 200 septums. He's like, thanks. It's a tip. As he eats, goes home. As then he goes along with Lily again and again. As he does what he would typically do. As Belle's like waiting, as he's like still the whole, yeah, let's take a break day. After speaking with Lily and like them having a few moments of Belle helping her, like ensuring she was safe. As he sliced through a creature at one point, she's like, why don't you use your the magic thing more often? He's like, too reliant, must switch it up. As he goes back to slicing to Beast and crushing him, she keeps him covered with her, you know, crossbow thing. As even at one point they do the whole magic knife thing, she's like, no, he's gonna want to take it. He's like, huh, neat. She's like, wait. I'll say she actually does pose the question, you're not gonna take it? He's like, no, why would I? A supporter needs the ability to defend him or herself. Otherwise, they're no good to the person that they've been hired by. She's like, okay. Weird. As then eventually, I'm skipping forward ahead with this. As he's still like approached by a few magicians to try and that try and convince him to teach them. As he still doesn't. That is something he keeps his mouth shut about. As when it comes to like the whole like helping Seer and such. As Hestia still went to like that banquet of the gods, as she spout off in pride of how Belle's like the bone wraith or whatever is her familia member. It's like, as Loki's like, I can't believe it. Freya's like, as Freya, for a different reason, instead of like Belle's aura being different, it's more or less she can somewhat sense his soul, as she senses Belle's power, the dragon part of you. As she speaks with Hestia, there we go, about her, like how Belle like came into her familia. She's like, oh well, it just happened one day. Like, he was looking terrible. I didn't have any familia members, and it just sort of happened, you know. As then Loki makes her appearance, as I'll say, like Freya. Freya showed up early, more like early, and even Hephaestus, as she talks with how Belle talked. Well, as Hestia brought Belle to her to ask about like shops and such. As Freya says, I kind of like him. He seems very... I don't know what it is. I just think he's probably the best thing that happened to Hestia in ages. And since I hear that you upgraded your church somewhat, she's like, yeah, we got some renovations done to, like, get us more room. Like, you know? She's like, yeah. And that he apparently is like destroying the dungeon in a metaphorical way. That every time, like, if he really uses his whatever it is, he can like destroy dozens of monsters in like one fell swoop, or one shout, as she would say it. But hey, as when Belle's like walking to the monster festival, he like came to check out the hostess of fertility. As when it came to the magic thing, as he like talks about his day off and such. Wait, day off came before. Yeah, day off came way before. Sorry. Like I said, I get events mixed up in some places because I know about the light novels and such, and so information gets mixed up with the anime. But I do change like some events around every now and then. So I'll say, yeah. Let's see, so far he's helped Lily, Hestia's at the banquets, and, well, as he's like, I'll say that he learns magic a little later on. Yeah, as he quickly does. He gets told that Seer left her money, as he's like, oh, alright. As he takes it, the little handbag, eventually tries to meet up with Seer. As eventually he does meet up with Hestia and such. As with that going on as it would, they still run into the ape, as it's like, Hestia, time to move! As he's like running with Hestia, it's like, come on, come on. As they're like running, as it smashes into the walls and such. As Freya later on like does the whole thing with Loki, like, why do you even want him? He's like, he's powerful, and something unique about his aura, like nothing I felt before. Almost like it's dominating my mind, you could say. It's like, well, guess as then she leaves, like something has come up, as with Loki being stuck with the bill. As anyways, Hestia and Belle like are still doing the whole run away, as Belle doesn't want to unleash like, he thinks that it's gonna take as the giant silverback may have actually been able to kill several dragons by itself, just with pure strength alone, as well as, you know, the whole, what is it? Yeah, it's like just very strong and such, I guess. As it comes like crashing towards them, Belle doesn't get anything that like levels up his whatever, or like grants him strength and such. It just merely has, you know, that. As that's when he goes to fight the silverback, when he like lets Hestia get away. He fights it with mainly strength, as he's in an enclosed space, and if he unleashes the full power, most likely several buildings are going to be, like, damaged severely. As he has to dodge, bob, and weave, and going on from that. As he slices into its leg, like, sort of spinning as he does it, trying to get in deeper with it. As when that happens, it, like, hits him with its backhand, as he's like, whoa! As he smashes into a wall and, like, stops him from falling. As then he goes, like, what? Using dragon aspect. As you get, like, horns and such, as he rushes forward, as he slams his sword into the thing's kneecap. As when he's about to do it again, the thing grabs him in midair and smashes him into the ground, then steps. As he was able to get his sword pointed up, as he, like, it's like stepping on a nail. As with that, he's like, oh, as he uses ice form on one of its feet, as it, like, gets, its foot is frozen as it falls over. As he is able to rip the sword from its foot. As he jumps backwards. As it, like, feels the pain still, it lets out another roar. As it comes barreling towards Belle. As it smashes its hands into the ground. Also, update, I bet some of you guys know that the third season of Dan Machi is actually out, and they're starting to release episodes for it, so yay, I may continue some of the older what ifs. Sorry that there's still no Dan Machi with what was her name? What's it? I forget the goddess's name, but the one that is, like, friends with Hestia and such, and is in the movie, something Freeze, I think, is the name, but sorry. As Belle's fighting this thing, he uses, like, a fire breath and a frost breath, and he even tries to use soul tear on it, but it pretty much, like, since soul tear moves kind of slow, it pretty much saw it coming and, like, just moved out of the way. As he's like, wait, what? As it smashed him in the face. Well, smashed him again into nearby wall. He's like, got no choice. As he says, oh, like, uses, like, a sucking a breath of air. And unleashes the entire force. Well, the, like, unrestrained might of Fusro Da. As he levels a couple of buildings behind them, as the silverback was launched, as people, like, looked into the air, as they saw a giant silverback flying. As Belle's injured, he somewhat has a concussion, as he's trying to shake it off, as he's like, oh, that does not feel good. As he runs over and as he jumps up, trying to get into the rubble, as he chases after it, eventually, like, as when he gets up there, there's, like, there's some adventurers trying to get under control. As Belle jumps up and goes, uses fire breath, breathing it on its face, causing it to flail backwards. As then Belle rushes forward, jumping up and then slamming the sword right into the chest area. As he uses it to, like, try and twist, it does it, as then it grabs him and throws him, as he's like, my sword. As he helps himself as to stop rolling, he's like, it grabs the sword and throws it. Belle's like, well. As he uses whirlwind sprint to launch himself over there, picks the sword up, and then for the final thing, as when he, like, went over, it sort of smashed its arm down. As he went to go block, he felt it in his bones, as it immediately, like, just like, as he just feels crack into his right arm, as he's like, that's not good. As he says, uses pretty much soul tear on it at this close of range. As it hits it, there's a big purple thing that engulfs it, then just poof. As he's like, that's annoying. As he puts the sword, as he like drops his sword, as his arm is like broken, as he drops it and falls to his knee, as he's like, some dragons would have had tough time surviving that barrage. As he's thinking to himself, well done, whatever you were. As with the stone that's been dropped, he walks over and picks it up. He's like, as it's a Ganesha familiar member that walks over to him, he's like, can I keep this? As the Ganesha's like, sure. And then Belle's like, oh, if you don't mind, I gotta go grab my goddess. As he like hobbles, well, not hobbles, but walks over. It's like, wait, please, we must like help your arm. As he's like, it's fine. As dragon aspect hadn't worn off at that point, so this person just sees him with like horns and colorful and like scales and such over his, like, in a sort of he can see through it, but he also sees the outline of it. It doesn't show wings or tail, it's just like the horns and the along his arms and chest. As when he goes over and helps Hestia, she's like, what were you doing, dummy? As he's like, I was dealing with a problem. As he like walks up the stairs, as in he actually meets Seer at one point, as it's like, oh, Belle, what? As she sees his like arm is kind of bleeding. As he's like, as he walks over to her, reaches into his like pocket and like hands her the bag. She's like, they asked me to give this to you. I couldn't find you, so here. As then he like stands up, like, as he's like, no, if you don't mind, as he falls over and just collapses, as it's like, whoa, what the? As several people like saw how Belle was doing, even like when he was in the enclosed space, as after like they saw his like complete power, the rumors already started spreading. He almost annihilated several houses to deal with that thing. He should be fined, as it's like a lot of stuff. As people try to find him, but they come up with the excuse that he was in a life or death situation. It's either unrestrained or get yourself killed. As with that being said, he gets his arm checked out at the end. Well, at the end, after he was like pretty much carried there by several adventurers who, like, while he still had his armor on as well. So these were some, like, I'd say, what were their names? They don't have any names, it's just a couple of Ganesh familia members who are pretty strong, as they, like, help, like, take him to the hostess of fertility while his arm's, like, being taken care of. As that's where I'll end this one off at. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. Hope y'all continue to enjoy it, and I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.